want to show a really simple vegan recipe that only requires 2 ingredients if you can use gluten, and only 3 ingredients if you have to be gluten-free. So I am limited in the options of what I can get at the store. This is not necessarily my favorite gluten-free flour, but it is what I can find in these challenging times that we live in. This is the Bob Mills 1-to-1 baking flour. I don't have a whole lot, but I have plenty for what we need. Now this is my secret weapon when you're using the 1-to-1 or any gluten-free flour. When you're doing something that's simulating bread, you want to have psyllium husk, organic powder. Yeah, they said powder, organic. The psyllium husk is really good. You want the powder because you can buy husk and it can be in varying degrees of processing. All right, so in this bowl I have 2 sweet potatoes, or 1 really big sweet potato. And when I need them for this recipe, I put them in my Instant Pot with a cup of water for 17 minutes. And you could probably do 15 minutes. Like if you were going to make your own for a meal and then you had some leftover, that would be fine. But if you see how smushed they are, the extra 2 minutes, or at least leaving the gasket little doohickey thing closed, and allow the steam to, whatever the word is, can't think, it's the end of the day, so of course I can't think. Allowing that to release on its own naturally, then you just really want to make sure that your sweet potato is well cooked. You can use leftover if you've been making things and you've got a couple extra sweet potatoes. So what am I making? It's kind of a cross between a tortilla and naan. It's kind of thicker. The cool thing with this dough is I've done it where I fried it in a little oil, so it's a little bit more chewy, a little more like a samosa almost, or a chalupa even. Anyway, all the different ethnic breads out there. This is just one of a delicious one that I make, and we eat it with a curry. So what you want to do is forget that you didn't get the spoon that you needed, and a spatula. Maybe I'll learn how to edit with my editing software that I just got. Alright, so I went ahead and mashed it with this lovely masher. I found this one at Walmart because I fell in love with one from Pampered Chef, but then I lost mine somewhere along the way. So this one was only $3, so that was pretty exciting. I don't need it for making taco meat or anything like that because I don't do meat anymore. But it's really handy to have for this recipe. So I'm eyeballing this because I've done it enough where the recipe that I originally saw said 1 cup of sweet potato and 1 cup of gluten-free flour. And I have just learned in this process what it's supposed to look like. And that was about a teaspoon of psyllium husk. And I can tell once I start putting this together, if it's not coming together like I want it to, I can kind of tell. And I just keep adding. And I know that's not very helpful because you're like, well, Janine, I don't know how to make this, so please tell me exact measurements. Because, baking's a science, right? And it's a combination of art and science. But with this one, you could have a really wet sweet potato, or it could just be really dry in your house. And so the The measurement may not be enough, and that's why you see most bread recipes, they say add more flour as needed. So I'm going to, it looks like probably going to be a cup and a half, because that's about how much sweet potato. So it's equal parts sweet potato to flour. And those of you who can do wheat, this is probably going to be a lot easier for you, because it's going to come together really quickly and the gluten will form. But this recipe has been wonderful, because I made it one afternoon after a long day of work and served it with our curry, which the kids are real excited when I make the rice and the curry, and we just have that for dinner. And so when I came to the table, because I used to make bread at least once, sometimes twice a week, and I would make challah every Friday, but I would make naan on Sunday when we had a big family meal, and I always had leftovers so I could take it to work on Monday. And so, you know, it was really, it's just been hard not being able to eat wheat, to spend all the time that's required in making gluten-free bread. It's expensive, and most of the time it's a disappointment. So when I found this one, and it actually tastes good, plus sweet potato, I mean, goodness gracious, we know all the health benefits to sweet potato. So if your kids aren't real keen on eating sweet potato, because maybe it's a texture thing, or maybe they think it's weird that a potato should be sweet, this is bread. They're eating bread, and you can put butter on it, you can put ghee on it. There's just a million things you can do with this recipe. And it's starting, I'll show you, it's really starting to look more like bread though, and less like sweet potato. So I never would have thought in a million years that this would work, but it's really delicious, and it's really very easy to make. Tendency to ramble, and I'm trying to get better at it. I've made a lot of these videos and I've hated every single one of them. So I'm hoping that maybe this one will get to make the cut and end up on YouTube. I don't know. So what I've done is I've put, this is my, this is the dryer, this is the washer, and that's the oven. Welcome to tiny house living. I have friends who live in smaller space, so I'm just grateful I have these lovely appliances. So I've put some flour down, and now I'm just going to work the dough until it starts. I mean, it feels like a dough. It really, truly already does. But I just want it to be smooth. There will be tiny, depending on how well you've smashed it. Like if you put it in a food processor, I don't know what that would do. I'm sure it would probably be perfectly fine. This is an incredibly forgiving recipe. But, see, I don't know. Can you see that well? I'm hoping it's a good angle. But it's very cold, because I've had these potatoes in the refrigerator. What I do is I'll be in the middle of working, and then I'll be like, you know what would be really good? Those sweet potato, I call it sweet potato naan, because that's really kind of what we use it like. And, you know, ooh, the sweet potato naan sounds good. So I will put the sweet potatoes in an Instant Pot, and then it'll come time to make it, and I'm too wiped out. And so I'm like, you know what? No, not tonight. We're having goulash or whatever. So I take them, I keep the skin on and everything, I just put them in the fridge. And then I don't let them go past 3 days, but I know it's part of, you know, I've got to make this and don't forget it. All right, awesome. It feels like bread. Let's see if I can get up close so you can see what it looks like. It's cold, and there's no stick to it now. Really, it's not sticking at all. I don't need to add flour to my hands to hold it. So it almost feels like a really cold Play-Doh. So what I would do at this point is, I move this. All right. Where am I? Okay. So I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to start dividing it. Oops. Yeah?
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
What?
Oh my
Okay. I had a whole bunch of babies hatch, so I don't know if I'll be able to edit that out or not. So what I did is I took them and I rolled them. I've divided them into little circles, and now I'm just kind of shaping them to be like tortillas or naan or whatever flatbread you want to call them. I don't know if this would be considered lefse because I've heard lefse is made out of potatoes, but okay. So now with this, oh no. Alright. So I've got a really deep but flat, it's like a skillet, but it's really deep. And I'm going to put it, I think high is too high, so I'm going to put it on 7. And then I'm going to gently lay this out. You can see how thin it is. It's not incredibly, it's not too thin. It's not like corn tortilla thin, but it's thicker than a flour tortilla. So, I don't know. But there's a bit of flour on it, and that the other reason that I've kind of been like, hey, I don't want to make these, is that for some reason this causes a bit of smoke in the house, and I don't have an overhead vent hood, so I don't fry very much ever, if at all, really. I've seen too many friends and family lose their gallbladders from eating too much fried food, so I really don't. I bake most everything. And this is going into a dry pan. So what I do like, though, if I can find it, yeah, there it is. Too many places where my utensils are. Is either an angled spatula like this or a big wide one like this. So either one of these is really helpful for this process. And I'm just going to have them both here, just on the off chance I need them. And then you want a plate as well to lay them in once they're done. You can take a towel and cover it, a cotton towel, so that you don't get anything linty on them. I'll use my Hanukkah towel, because I can. You could do what I've seen a lot of people do, and it's kind of make a bed for them, lay them down. Okay, so what you're going to see, if you've ever made tortillas, this is old hat, and you don't even need to watch this because you've made this before. But if you're not familiar with making flatbread, you're going to see little bubbles pop up, and you're going to want to keep an eye on them. Don't flip it too often, and you don't want to do it too much. But if you see some puffs, go ahead and if you think they're flipped, you think it's been long enough, go ahead. I don't think mine's been long enough. And this is trial and error because it's a new stove and it's glass top, so there's still a little bit of learning I need to do. The oven is hotter than my other oven, so things get done faster, and it's actually closer to the like if you follow a recipe on a box or something and it says 15 minutes, 15 to 18 minutes, it's always the 15, not the 18. It used to be the other way around. I could err on the side of caution and keep it in longer. Alright, so I'm getting some bubbles. Oh, and definitely, I'll show you once it's done. No, I was totally not ready. Alright, there were some bubbles forming. You're going to see some discoloration, darkening, and then you'll know that it's getting closer to being done. So once I get some done, I will come back. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can keep it all puffed up and then show it to you real quick. No, it deflated as soon as I took it off the heat. But it's ready. You can kind of see the difference. I don't know, maybe it's really hot, so I don't want to burn myself, but maybe with the next one. Alright. I will say, there's some people on YouTube who make this look easy. I don't know if, I mean, I know that like Ro with Nerdy Nummies, I know she has self-confidence and self-image issues. But when I've been doing my videos, I haven't really allowed myself to think too much. But when I was editing them, I'm so mean to myself. So I applaud the YouTubers who are able to do this and make it look easy. And you know, I have this out, but I haven't used it. It's this dough has been so user friendly that I haven't really needed to use the rolling pin at all. My fingers have been good enough. But you know, we're in the middle of a very strange time, somewhat exciting and yet somewhat terrifying, all at the same spectrum. And so it really is one of those times where focusing on right here and right now is your best bet. Can't do anything about what happened yesterday. There's not anything I can do about tomorrow. But right now, I am making sweet potato naan. And it's yummy, and I can't wait to eat it. My favorite way is just eating it fresh with a slab of butter. You know, vegan butter for us. But I am not, like, I don't do this for any other reason but that I feel better. Like, I would love to see the animal husbandry practices better. You know, I would love a lot of things to change. But I do this because health-wise, I wasn't doing well eating meat and dairy. I have never felt better than when I don't eat meat and dairy. So that's not, you know, and I'm not animal free, not completely. I have chickens. It's an investment. We've had them since 2016. I'm not going to just stop eating eggs. Yeah, I could just sell them and make money. But our diet is like, not egg heavy, but we do use egg. Thankfully, this recipe doesn't use egg. This one looks really good. Let's see if I can show you. I'm going to move the camera. See if that doesn't help. Isn't that amazing? It's like so yummy. You're like, well, that looks a little dark, but it doesn't taste burnt at all because it's sweet potato. So, oh, it smells so good. Alright, so I'm flipping it because that one doesn't seem to, it's a little shiny. So I'm flipping it. Okay. I'm going to show you my favorite sneaky way. Before dinner, I haven't even made my curry, but I'm just going to take a little dollop of butter. Make this nice and shiny. Or ghee. Ghee would be really good, but I'm out of ghee right now. I did find this, which is amazing. If you are looking for an alternative, this is butter flavored coconut oil, and it's completely parve, so there's no dairy in it at all. It's amazing. It's buttery. I didn't put any salt in it at all. So you're going to want to do that. Oh, this one puffed like a pita. You're going to want to add salt. Or not. I mean, if you're having a well-seasoned curry, this is just sop it up. I don't know, just eat it. It's going to be great. Well, if you make this, let me know. I'm hoping to make a curry, and I am hoping to record it. We shall see.